Hey guys, it's April with Crafting with April. Please don't pay attention to this really ugly box with all my notes on it. I have been working on it and trying to create a prototype and making my notes on the box as I went along. Someone, and I forgot who, I do apologize, was wanting one of the window boxes that was deeper because that, well, I have the top off of this one, because this one just wasn't deep enough for what they were doing, and they wanted to know if we could do this in a bigger box. So because of the way that box is made, we really can't, because we can't go wider than 11.5 inches, and that box, the way it's designed, would have to go wider than 11.5 inches, and it's not possible. So I came up with a two-piece box that was 4 inches deep. It's 10 inches in length or width, whichever way you want to do the box. This can be your top to bottom, and this could be your top to bottom this way. But it's 10 inches by 8.75 and 4 inches deep. In the file, you are going to have a piece like this, and it has a score line on it, and it's going to score a B. On my desktop, when I'm looking at the file, it looks like an S there, but it will score a B. You don't want to change that to writing because it may be seen. And this is just so that you can place, it's a guide to help you place the actual sides of the box so that it's even all the way around. Then you're going to have a panel, and it's also, I believe, it depends on which. This one has a nothing on it. I don't know. It has a B on it because this goes to the bottom, but the reason that's on there is because there are 3 lids in this file, and one of the lids has a piece that's very similar, so I put a B on one and a T on one because they are very slightly different in size, and getting them mixed up could cause you an issue. So those are marked. That one, again, it might show because this is the panel that's going to line the inside of the box. Let me just show you. That way you don't want to change that one to writing because that is this piece here. Okay? Then you've got your 4 pieces that are going to create the sides and the ends. That is basically the bottom of the box. Then you're going to have the top. Like I said, there are 3 lids in that file. You're going to have one that's got the panel here that goes on the inside. You've got the 4 side pieces here. And this is made out of really flimsy paper because I don't use good paper to make my prototypes. Then you're going to have this layer, and you can make this a different color if you want. I did not do it on this box. I did not do it on the one that we're going to put together. But I made this piece just slightly smaller because I didn't like the way it was lining up. And then you're going to have this piece, and you can do a print and cut on that. If you're doing the solid top, you can make it a print and cut. I did round off the corners on it as well. But there are several things that you can do with that. You can use last year's Christmas card and put that on the front. If you want to make this box a little bit smaller, I suggest that you group everything and adjust everything, or make you a copy and hide the original and work off that duplicate that you make. The other lid is going to be very, very similar to this one. The only difference is does not have this piece in it. It's completely cut out so that you can add your own name or your own phrase. This one is the Merry Christmas that we're going to be doing, like the other box that we did. And if you don't own this image and you don't want to buy it, just delete this one out of the file, so when you cut and use the one that doesn't have anything in it, put what you want in there. But I did leave it in the file because a lot of people were asking for it, and I figured I would just leave it in this one so it would be easy to find for them. And I'm using, you want to use something good and heavy for this. If you don't, this box will be flimsy, especially when you go to put things in it. If you're putting shirts, or I think some of the people are wanting to put like little shirts and tutus and stuff like that in it for their grandkids or their kids. And once you start loading that box up, it's going to get flimsy and buckle on you. So you want to use something heavy. I am out of white Cricut craft board. That's what I wanted to use, was the craft board. I have plenty of the brown, but I wanted this box to be different from the other one. But it's good and thick, and it's heavy. This is what you want to use for, I use it for all my boxes. I always have the little ornament boxes. You can get away with 80-pound or 85-pound cardstock, 100-pound cardstock. But these boxes, you want something heavy. Because I'm out of the white, I'm using watercolor paper. This is the Canson watercolor paper. I get it at Walmart because it's a lot less expensive than it is getting it at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. But it's like 140-pound weight. So it's good and thick, and it's heavy, and it'll work really well for this box. Now I am using Cricut red cardstock because it's solid core. I just like solid core because you don't have that white edge showing, and it gives it a more finished look. And I'm using Cricut glitter cardstock, and this is the silver. I went ahead and put this together for time purposes, just so we could move along. And then I'm using the foil acetate from Cricut. And I don't know if you guys know that or not, but it's really good and thick, and it really makes a nice box. This is the crown jewel. But there is a plastic layer on there, guys. Make sure you peel that off before you use it so you don't have that cloudy look, and you get that nice, crisp, clear image or window. So let's go ahead and get started putting the box together. This piece is the bottom, and you don't really have to do anything to that. Like I said, it's scored, and that's just to help you when you're putting it together. And this is your panel. We're not going to need that right now. These pieces, I forgot to tell you, it's going to ask you for the pen. If you don't want to use the pen, you don't have to. And just let it score. Just hit your go button again or change it. But they're numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4, and with a B. This tab has a 1, 2, 3, and 4 on it, each piece. And then a B. And that means it's the bottom of the box. There is a slight difference because the top fits down over the top of the bottom, so it's slightly smaller. You don't want to get these 4 pieces mixed up. As far as which one is 2 and 4 and which one is 1 and 3, doesn't really matter. They're identical. But you're going to fold that tab, that first tab, and then you want a short. So you want a long, short, long, short. And you're going to glue those together. And I'm just using some art glitter glue here. And use what glue you have. I'm out of this in my Etsy shop, and I won't be getting any more till spring because it can't be shipped in freezing weather. Just going to glue that one, and then you're going to fold your next tab. That way you don't have to worry about folding it while that glue is drying. Long, short, here's another long. This is a really easy box to assemble. Just going going to get it lined up there. Fold the next one. Glue it. And then fold that last, oops, I wasn't glued yet. Let me press that down again. Plus I've been up all night long. I could not sleep, guys, could not sleep. I was thinking about this box and thinking about it, and I just decided to give it up and make the box. And now we're going to connect that, creating that square. So you're going to have a piece that looks like this. Now you want to fold after it dries. I'm going to work over here while that one over there dries. Keep it. You want to fold all these tabs down. I wouldn't fold them too deeply. You want to keep them kind of crisp, but you want to fold them in enough that they're going to allow you to put that panel in. Now these on the corners will overlap. It didn't bother me. It worked just fine on the prototype. If it bothers you and you want to snip one of them, go for it. I just thought it reinforced the corner and left it. But I'm just folding all of these tabs down. And I know a lot of people don't do it this way. This is probably opposite of what most people do. You want to try to get it as square as you can. And then I have that inside panel. Okay, to me this is the easiest way to do it. This is the bottom of my paper, so that's where I'm going to put the glue, is on the bottom panel. So if you're using a patterned cardstock, you want to keep your pattern up and glue the back. And I am just putting glue on one edge, just on that edge right here. And you'll probably want to do this on some type of a craft mat, because you're going to get glue on your mat. And I am just going to be, I'm trying to get this in the camera for you guys. I am just placing that in, that glued end in there, and squaring that up. And then I'm going to press it down, but I want it to be square. And I'm just working on that one end. So I'm pushing in on the back and pushing down, squaring up that end with that piece of cardstock. And it doesn't matter if it comes out. We're going to fix all of that. But you just want to glue these tabs down first. I got one missing tab. Make sure all of your tabs are glued before you move on. Just getting that, letting that dry for a second. Then I'm going to lift it or flip my box over. See if you guys can see that in the camera. And now I'm going to glue this edge. I'm just going to put glue on that edge of the box. Then I'm going to flip it over as well and do the same thing that I did on the other. I'm not worried about the sides at all. If you can see, I've got gaps there. Don't worry about it. Just square up just the end. Push that end in and get it nice and flat and square. And I always seem to miss that one little corner. Not worried about it getting sticky on the bottom. Like I said, use your craft mat, your whatever you have. go. Make sure all of your side tabs are up. I have one in the corner there that's not glued down. There we go. Okay, now that you have all of your tabs up here, you're going to run a bead of glue down. Just work on one side at a time. Keep your box as square as you possibly can. And I am just pressing down and pushing that in and gluing it, keeping it square, giving it that glue a chance to take hold. And then if you have a tab like I have here, just sticking up that didn't get glued, just glue that one down. It's not a big deal because the bottom piece is going to go on here and take care of any of these little last ones that want to pop up like that. And now I'm going to glue that other side. Don't need a lot of glue, just enough to make it kind of lay flat and help you keep it square. Really all we're doing. Sorry if I moved out of camera. I had to get mine where I could lay it down here. Get my tabs under there. There we go. And again, I'm just pressing it down. And if you want to cut another panel to maybe dress up the bottom of this box and put a color in there, like some pretty paper, because this, like I said, you need strong, you want your box to be strong. So if you want to put something in there to pretty that up, you can. I didn't worry about putting a liner around this. You could certainly do that and make this even more sturdy, because your, oh, I apologize, I hit the tripod. Your top is going to go over the outside of it. So just keep in mind, if you do that on the top, it might make the box really, really, really tight. Now on this one, I can see my score lines, but if you're having trouble seeing them, you can. And I am just going to take like my yellow Cricut pen, and I am just on the inside going to make a dot, a circle, something on the inside corners. If you're using watercolor paper, the score lines show up pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera or not, but it's kind of it's heavy, but it's soft, so the scoring tool works. But a dot there will help me see where I'm going. But I'm just going to take some glue, and I am staying inside the score line, and I am going all along the edge just inside the score line instead of putting this on the bottom of the box. And you'll see why, because this is going to make it easier to line up, because you can see your bead of glue on there a lot easier than you can see that score line. And it needs to go out to the edge anyway. So right up on it. And I wouldn't use a dark color pen or anything like that. That yellow, if the glue makes it bleed, it's not going to really show. Now that I have that, I may get off camera here a little bit, I hope not. I am going to set one corner, just like you would be putting your paper on your mat. Set those corners. And you can put certainly put some glue down the center. I forgot to do that. And on the bottom of your box as well, to help hold that in place, but give you enough glue that you can slide in position. But you're just going to line up the box bottom And I'm off just a bit. There we go. And that's going to allow you to keep this and get it centered on the base. And you can certainly change out the shape of this piece. If you don't like this shape, just change it out. Just make sure that you leave enough room for the base of your box to go on something. And if you want, you can just cut a secondary panel. I would make it slightly larger of this panel that we put inside and just put it on the bottom. That way you don't have any decorative edge at all. It's just a straight flat box. And the top piece, the lid piece, is the exact same size. There's no difference in these two pieces at all. Only in the construction of the box and the panels. But those two pieces are fine. And that is all there is to the bottom. The bottom is done. Now we're going to assemble the top. Basically the same thing. Let's start with our pieces. You want a long one, a short one, a long one, and a short one. Just want to make sure you have all the top pieces because there's a slight difference in height, I think. No, not in height, I don't remember. In length, I think it is, because it's going around the other one, so it had to be slightly larger. Trying to make sure that I stay glued here. Just folding on that score line before I add the next piece. Lined out, and then the last one. And there we go with that. And we're going to complete it by gluing those. Just make sure you have them level and straight. Oops, I slid. Don't slide. Oh, yeah. And I evidently didn't get enough glue there, or I moved it too quickly. Sometimes this watercolor paper takes a little bit extra glue because it absorbs the water so quick from the glue that I'm using. I pretty much prefer the Cricut craft board. It cuts beautifully. It's easy to work with. It folds just as good as this does. Again, fold in all your tabs. This one's going to be a little bit different because we have the window in it. If you're using the solid lid like we did on the prototype, it's going to go together exactly like the bottom went together, except you've got that extra decorative panel on the top, the two extra panels. One that's the same shape as the base and one that's got the rounded corners. Just going to fold those side ones back up. And now you're just going to have this piece. That's a small frame, and it's going to be a little more difficult to work with, but if we want, I don't know why I folded those back up. I need them down so I can get in there. But it's still going to give you that frame in there. So it's basically the same thing. You're just going to work with one edge at a time, getting it straight and framing it up. And I did not check this piece. I'm hoping that it's wide enough to cover the tabs. If not, I'm going to be doing some reconstruction before I give you guys the tab. So we're testing this lid together because I have not made this one yet. And then we're going to flip it over. It looks like it's just going to make it. If I can get my glue to hold. Maybe I should have chose a different glue for this watercolor paper. I usually don't have any problem at all with it. Or I'm just not giving it time to dry. Okay guys, I am going to finish gluing this frame in. My camera only gives me 30 minutes at a time. And so this video is a little long showing how this box is. I'm going to restart my camera so we don't get cut off, and I'll be back with you guys. All I'm going to do is glue this frame in like we did the panel on the bottom. Okay guys, I'm back, and I had to restart the camera timer. Let's see. I am just now gluing this other side in on this frame. I'm afraid those may stick out. Maybe not. I hope we're going to get lucky. I may have to shorten those tabs for this one. I'm just going to glue this frame here. I think it's going to be okay though. Flip that over. Just want to keep it straight. I think I'm going to live with it if it bothers you guys. If you can see, I mean, it's just a tiny area, and when I get the other panels on, I don't believe it's going to show. If it does, I'm going to trim it. I'll check it and see. I may go into that file for the ones with the acetate window and just trim off just a touch of these tabs. They don't need to be that long for this, so that you guys don't run into that problem. And again, I'm just squaring up, keeping this square. I could have made the window a little bit smaller and fixed that as well, but sometimes we want the large window in there, so side looks good. It only looks like I have one side that's doing that. I'm still going to go into the file and trim these up for you guys. I mean, that's all I'm doing is just snipping those off. Not cutting into the window layer at all. I don't think it, I mean, just a couple of them, that's all. That's really strange. I mean, you can see it's like little hairs that I just trimmed off. There's really not much there. But if that happens to you, if I don't trim enough off in the file, just snip them off before you get to the next step. Then we have this panel, and this, if you can see, this one is scored, so that's going to be where we line up, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our glue, I'm not going to dot this one, we're going to put our glue right up around that score line, and because of this being a window, I'm going to go up around the window too. I thought maybe I messed up with my acetate, but it goes on next. And just get some glue in there all the way up to that score line, just like we did on the base. Nothing really different. It just looks odd because of the hole in it. And then you're just going to, again, line this up and keep it square. This one should be easier to do because of the window. That gives you another point of reference for squaring this one up, because you want that to be the same. We're just sandwiching all those little tabs in between that inside frame and the top frame. That really good and smooth down. Glued well, let it stick really good. And that's the top, basically. Next, we just have our decorative pieces, or what I call decorative pieces. Your acetate needs to go next. And it's cut just large enough to go over. And art glitter glue does dry clear. You will see it a little bit when you first put this on. It will dry clear. If you use a tape, you might see it, but if you don't go over the edge, you won't see that, so that will work too. I'm just going to lay that on. Give it a little press around the edge. And this is what I was talking about. You can cut this piece in a different piece, or decorative, or this piece, either one. I just want to go ahead and leave mine white. And it is cut to leave a border, so that if you do that color, you have the inside border on the frame and on the outside. So I'm just kind of eyeballing to see where I need to go to make sure I line this up. And then I am going to put glue on this outside edge around the frame and on the outside edge here. I'm not going to put it in the center. And I keep bumping that tripod. I do apologize, guys. So let's just go around these edges. So I don't want those popping up. I apologize, this tutorial is a little bit longer than most of them. I try to keep them 30 minutes or less for you guys, but because this is a new style box that I designed, well, it's not really new, but not many people are doing them. I wanted to make sure that you guys knew exactly how the box went together. Okay, and I am pressing this down just good enough to hold it, And then I am going to flip it over and give it a good press, because I don't want to press down on these outside edges of the decorative box part and bend it and mess up the box. So I'm trying to do all my pressing, keeping it flat. And I'm praying that because I used this thick water, I did test it and you saw that the lid did fit on the prototype, but this cardstock is thicker, this watercolor paper, so it may be really, really tight and it may not fit. I may have to adjust it for that. And if I do, I will not release it to you guys until I've gotten it fixed. So if the file is there, that means I fixed everything and it's ready, if we need to fix it. Now I'm just getting my decorative Merry Christmas. I'm just gluing that so that it doesn't come up or lift up on any of the areas. And make sure you get all your edges really good. And then to place that. Looks good. How pretty. You guys can see that pretty good. Gonna flip it over again and give that a good press. And that's why I didn't glue the inside. I don't like the glue to show. Even though it may dry completely 100% clear, I don't want to take the chance to see it. I think I did it on this box. Let's take a look. Yeah, you can see it a little bit if you tilt it, but I mean it is completely clear. So I mean you have to really be looking for it. I don't want to do that with this one. And it may be because that was the brown craft paper with the white, it probably wouldn't show at all. And there we have it. Let's see if the lid fits. Yay! Perfect. There you go, guys. Larger box like everybody asked for. You can still do the name and the window. You can put more things in here if you're doing baked breads or whatever for Christmas, or you're doing a whole family gift with baked goods, doing several shirts, pair of pants, tutus, whatever you guys want to do should fit in this box. Like I said, if you want to do this panel and decorative frames, you guys do that. Please post your pictures and show me what you did and show me your take on these boxes. I would love to see them. And I would like for a thumbs up on the YouTube channel on this video, and I would love for you guys to subscribe. If you're not a member of the Facebook group Cricut Crafting or Cricut Maker Projects, please come over and join us. We're always doing something. We're always trying to stay new and innovative, as well as doing some of the old, because everything old is new again, and new stuff is always fun as well. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video and you get plenty of use out of this box.